Hello everybody and welcome back to Sin City Living and today's episode on the history of Vegas. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We have a ton of content coming out for you guys every single day, so we don't want you guys to miss a thing. And we appreciate everybody that's been tuning into our premiere videos on Thursdays at 6 o'clock and possibly on Tuesdays at 4:30 or 5 o'clock as well. It's just a chance to live chat with me and anybody else, and possibly Louie or Amy, anybody else that might be on, and discuss our upcoming live stream plans and our craps tournaments and other things that we want to do with the live streams. And a shout out of appreciation to Wes and any of the rest of our fans that have given us any tips during the live chats. We appreciate them. It's just going to go towards the channel. Every penny's just going to go right back in towards the channel. So again, we really appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and jump into today's video and the history of Vegas. So what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about the first casino. Vegas's first casino, which, by the way, is still here. Now, there is some contention on whether or not this was actually the first casino, but in general, it's pretty commonly accepted that this was the very first casino to operate in Las Vegas. Okay, and it didn't originally start as the name that it has now. So back in 1905, John F. Miller came to Las Vegas, and he joined an auction for some property in the downtown Las Vegas area. The property that, again, is still here, its address is 1 Fremont Street. It was the first casino. Now, if I recall, and I could be wrong about this, but if I recall, they actually still have, they had the very first telephone in Las Vegas as well, and I believe they may still actually have the physical phone still on their property as a little souvenir. So the Miller purchased this parcel, and it was on the corner of Main Street and Fremont, and he established the Miller Hotel, which is basically just a temporary tent hotel. It was also known as Hotel Nevada, and in August he had plans to construct a permanent 2-story hotel structure, so he began the construction on it. And they started out with lodging and, of course, casinos and gambling. And that is why it's considered the first casino, because they were the first ones to have gambling. Now, what ended up happening was in 1909, Las Vegas actually passed a law that banned gambling, so they had to cease their gambling operations. But prior to that, they did have their gambling operations. So again, and yes, Las Vegas's very first telephone was at Hotel Nevada with the telephone number of 1. Pretty easy to call them. So again, the casino operated until 1909 when gambling was banned. Right? They had blackjack tables, poker tables, everything, and all they did, they shut it down. Of course, they wanted to follow the law, so they shut it down and they stuffed everything into storage. And he just continued going from there. He continued to grow it just as a hotel. By 1918, he was looking at a large addition to the hotel, reinforced concrete, more frontage on Fremont Street, and it started getting more popular in 1925 when Fremont Street was paved. Of course, that would make things a little bit more popular, of course. And around that time, I think it was around 1931 or so, they reopened their casino because gambling got legalized again. That is also the year that the property expanded. They went to 4 stories, and they renamed themselves. They called themselves Sal Segev, which is Las Vegas backwards, spelled backwards. So it continued to operate as a casino pretty much from then on. It stayed as a casino. So again, the very first casino in Las Vegas. Now, it's a little bit smaller. Here's some of the statistics on it. As far as the Fremont Street experience go, it is a part of it. It's again located at 1 Fremont Street, but it is the smallest. It's the oldest hotel, of course, but it is the smallest, 106 rooms. So it's pretty tiny. It's pretty small, even though it's been expanded over time. Space is definitely a premium on Fremont Street. I've been there many times. Now, 1955, A. Miller, the operator and the son of John F. Miller, he was approved for plans to lease its ground floor to another group that would then sublease various floors and so on and so forth. And they planned to open the Golden Gate Casino, which is what it is now named and has been since that time. So the Golden Gate Casino on the ground floor of the South Segev. So they started the renovations on it, and they were leasing it, so they were paying Miller a certain amount every month, as well as a percentage of the gambling profits. So it was renamed the Golden Gate Casino, which they named after the Golden Gate Bridge, because all of these people were from California. They were from Oakland. And they operated the casino for 40 years, or almost 40 years. Now, in 57, Miller died taking a nap, died in his sleep. John F. Miller died. Okay, and he actually died in the South Segev, and he was 92 years old, so he lived a pretty full life. Abe continued to run the hotel until the 1960s. In 64, it was expanded to include the total to 106 rooms, which is where it's at now. Right? The exterior was covered with aluminum siding, and Miller, as of 1969, was still operating the property. Now, in the 70s, the whole property was renamed the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino, because prior to that, it was the Golden Gate Casino, was inside the ground level, inside the South Segev Hotel. So it was a hotel with a casino, but the casino was not technically, it was not co-owned. It was leased, and they paid a percentage of the profits. So in 74, they renamed it, and it was renamed the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino, which is how it is to this day. So Abe Miller and his sister that have been running it, they died in 1985. And the sister willed her ownership, her small ownership, to the nuns at the Convent of Good Shepherd of Las Vegas. Now, Gelfie, who had been one of the original partners of the casino, purchased the property from the entire partnership in 1990, removed the facade that had been there earlier, and continued to operate the Golden Gate for quite some time. Now, what ended up happening as time went on, things started to get older, and what really started to hurt the Golden Gate were all these other grand things that were opening. I mean, the very first casino in Vegas was, of course, going to do well, and continued to do well all the way up until competition hit. You know, back in the day, Fremont was the place to be. Fremont was basically the Strip. Fremont was where all the casinos, where all the entertainment, where all the parties, where all the nightlife was. That's where you went, was Fremont Street. 1 Fremont Street. Telephone number 1 made it a lot easier. So that was the place to be. But then as the rise of other things started happening, it started to really, really hurt the Golden Gate. And again, they're on a fairly small lot, so there's only so much that they can do. So now we've got the rise of the Strip. Rise of the Strip of these massive mega resorts that have all these amenities and these massive hotels with showrooms and magic shows and Cirque du Soleil and lions and bears and tigers. Oh my, lions, tigers, bears. Arboretums, zoos, just all this stuff that a tiny little property just wouldn't be able to compete with. And then Fremont itself was becoming more touristy as well, more of a sideshow to Las Vegas Strip, and all these other casinos start popping up on Fremont Street, and the whole Fremont Street experience starts happening. And now all of a sudden, Golden Gate is the smallest of all of them. So what ended up happening was it ended up being purchased by a conglomeration, a team-up of the Stevens brothers, Derek Stevens and Brendan, I can't remember his exact name. Greg Stevens. Derek and Greg Stevens. Now, they also owned Las Vegas's 51's baseball team, and they had a percentage stake in the Riviera Casino. So with the new money that they were able to infuse into the casino, they again went with massive upgrades, massive remodels, and really modernized and brought it back up. Made the Golden Gate once again a sight to see, something that people wanted to check out. And that's pretty much where it's been ever since. The Golden Gate is basically it's more of a landmark than a destination nowadays, because again, 106 rooms. It's pretty small. Pretty small. It's got a small casino. I've been in it. It's just mostly just a destination. It's a landmark. It's one of the sights that you have to see if you've never been to Vegas. You have to, of course, do Fremont Street along with the Strip, and then you have to go see some of these sites. The first casino in Vegas, 1 Fremont Street, the first telephone number, the first telephone, all of this stuff. It's basically just, it really is a living, breathing piece of Las Vegas history. Now, of course, the Stevens brothers own other properties, Golden Gate being the first one as far as casinos go, but they also own the D, and they also own the Circa, which is the newest Fremont Street casino, and it's pretty close to rivaling a strip casino. It's still smaller than most of the strip casinos, but it's modern. It's about as modern as you can get. It's a pretty awesome casino. It's a lot of fun. I've been there quite a few times. The only downside is it's very similar to the D in that it's very loud, so you can't really hold a conversation very easily. But otherwise, it's there. So Stevens is actually, he owns this piece of history, while at the same time he's put this modern piece on the same street. And it's really interesting. So you can go to a very, very modern casino, and then you can also walk over and see literally a piece of Las Vegas history. So I hope you guys find this interesting. I know this one's a little bit shorter, but very first casino in Vegas. It's a small property, so there's not going to be too much that we can really delve into without really just boring you guys about this is when they upgraded these rooms, this is when they added this facade, this is when they added concrete walls. I mean, I don't want to bore you guys with construction details. So that is the very brief précis of the history of the Golden Gate Casino, Las Vegas's very first casino. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye now.